Gather around, Skull Brothers and Sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave, next in 3, 2, 1. Gather around, Skull Brothers and Sisters. This is Under the Lights, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. We got a special guest back on. Friend of the program, Rhino from Vikings Uncensored.
Yo.
Say hi, man. We're all glad to have you back.
Hey, glad to be back, guys. Been a little while since I've been on the show, but glad you guys have me back on again so we can wander our way through this wilderness of Vikings off-season, what shenanigans and whatnot right now.
And of course, we got co-host Justin, Lamar Jackson's agent.
Yeah.
Got him a big payday.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin?
Not much. You know, it's funny, Rhino. I almost texted you after your show last night saying, hey, we got to do a show together, but Dave was already on top of that. And Rhino, for everybody who doesn't already know, is the ambassador to the Filipino Vikings fan club. I hope I said that right. Did I say it right, Rhino?
Yeah, the Filipino fan club. Anyway, we've got
we've
got a contingent over there that's following Vikings Uncensored anyway, so we're trying to spread them out to everybody else too. What's that?
I'm like, is she pretty? I'm just kidding.
We won't talk about that part of it.
All right. Okay. Hey, let's give some shout outs. Davey Chains, Luff Krieger, Bob Swede. What's up, man? Whoa, geez, they had a conversation going. Of course, Too Evil to Hope.
There's a show.
Let's see, what do we got? My Worthless Opinion, of course. Dr. Proto. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You guys were just chatting away. Skull for Life. What's up, man? And what do we got? Blowfishes. That's a good one. I said a while ago that I expected just to be on Cook. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Raymond, what's up, man? Hey, and Raymond. Mary Fist, Chicken Soup for My Soul. Talking about her softball banquet.
Congratulations again to Mary and her teams.
You guys are biting at the bit talking to each other in here. I missed somebody. Norsefius, what's up? Holden, what's up? Did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
No, all right. We got them all.
Cool.
And if somebody didn't get shouted, just put it in there again, and you can yell at Dave because I don't have control. I'm just
it's only Well,
I get to play the role of Brunswick when you're on, Rhino, where you're the only one who can throw that stuff up there, and he just sits there and drops a few F-bombs. But I'll leave the F-bombs at it is beer 30, Bob. You are correct. So, what should we talk about first here, guys?
Well, I guess
anything going on?
I guess not much, really. No.
Dalvin Cook. Possible trades heating up. Maybe it's cutting. Who knows? Maybe it's just teams interested only if it is cutting. What was the latest news, Rhino? Can you fill us in?
I mean, it wasn't a whole lot today that I saw. Saw a deal yesterday.
News is big news.
Yeah, right.
Saw a deal yesterday that the Jets are interested in him on a 1-year deal.
Oh.
Just due to the fact they don't know if Breece Hall is going to be back from his or when he's going to be back from his ACL surgery. Of course, that meaning the Jets will not be trading for him, but would be interested in picking him up should he get cut. On top of that, the same tweet also said that Miami is freaking out at the thought of the Jets getting him, which could bode well in our favor because it could cause Miami to throw some sort of trade compensation our way. So,
yeah, to force the issue and decide where he goes. That's
right.
We said it all along. All we need is 2 guys to bid on it, and I mean that might give us something. What would you guys take right now? What would you guys be?
A jugs machine.
Half-eaten ham sandwich and a cold cup of coffee right now.
Yeah, really, at this point. I mean, honestly, what's up, Drop Shot, and what's up, Anthony? Good to see you guys. I'm just going to say this. At this point, I don't know if you guys heard the live edition of Purple Daily today that was on at 4 o'clock, I believe. And Judd threw it out there that he's heard rumors. And again, Judd's a reputable source, but Judd explicitly said this is just what I've heard, and he doesn't know the validity to it, that report that we had heard that the Vikings had an offer on the table back in March for a 3rd round pick for Dalvin Cook from the Dolphins. Now, take that for what it is worth, which is a whole lot of who knows. But if that's true and Kwesi didn't make that move and was hoping for something higher than that, I'm going to be vastly disappointed. Now, to answer your question, as far as at this point, I just want this saga to be done. I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. I'm kind of sick of talking about it. It's been played out to death. You know, it hasn't gotten to the level of arguments the way we do about Kirk Cousins, for example. But, you know, some of the fan base says, no, we need to keep him. And even if he doesn't want to take a pay cut, we should keep him because Dalvin Cook is still, you know, a top 5 running back in this league, which I don't agree with. Yes, he had, 6th in rushing yards last year, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's all well and good, but a lot of his yards were on those explosive plays. And part of the reason why we can bog down offensively is because he's running for 0s and 1s. And then the other half says, hey, you know what? You re-signed Alexander Madison, so you probably made assurances to him. So I just want this thing to be done more than anything. What's up, McAndrews? I just want this thing to be done with anything. I'll take a 5th round pick. I'll take anything. Let's just get it done. I'm sick of it.
Two Evil Hope says fire Kwesi if we do not get a 3rd for Cook. I think that maybe, you know, that ship probably sailed about a 3rd round. I don't think it was ever on the table. If we did, he should have took it right away. But,
yeah. If there was
his point was, yeah.
If there was a 3rd round offer and we didn't jump on that deal,
then fire him.
Then I'm going to start questioning Kwesi's tactics.
His sanity. I really think really think that he was willing to save an extra, take the chance on saving a little more money by waiting to trade him afterwards. There was a difference between a little under 8 to a little under 11, or no, around 11 actually.
It's like 11.1, I think.
Yeah, so there was as far as trading him before and after the deadline. So I think that extra money to him was more worth the risk of not getting a low-end draft pick for him. And I feel
if we'd have got a 3rd round draft pick from the Dolphins, that would have been
they would have done
that would have been in like around pick 20.
Worth more than $3 million.
Or earlier, yeah. Right. You could have taken 2 3rd round picks and traded back up into the 2nd round and got one of those guys we were allegedly interested in that we didn't have the ammunition to go get.
The difference of $3.1 million extra dead, moving from this year's salary cap to next year's salary cap, being that it was after June 1st, is not worth giving up a 3rd round pick for a running back whose greatest value is to try to get draft assets for. And again, just to be clear, we're just speculating based on speculation that was reported by Purple Daily out with Judd Zolgad. But just to be clear, the difference of $3.1 million for a 3rd round pick, no, that's not worth holding out to try to save that 3.1. No.
So I got a few shout outs. Anthony Cartagena actually went to Cartagena, which is awesome, on my honeymoon, part of the trip. Mike Dub Podcast.
What's up, Mike?
And Drop Shot Jake. Thanks for joining the show. I do have some information. It's probably relatively been reported, but the timeline kind of like might feed into what is happening now. Dalvin Cook agent was using, certain sources to deliver information like, hey, he's interested in playing Miami and Buffalo, to later on asking people to say, hey, he really likes Minnesota and wants to stay here. And it was and I have a source finally. I have a source. It seems to be pretty reliable. To his thoughts was, and me and him were talking and we kind of agreed that it's shifted to, hey, the agent finally realizes the market wasn't there for the running back, that, hey, let's try to get the Vikings to renegotiate with him to get the $8 million rather than go into free agency and not get crap, right? And that was my guy's thoughts behind it, based on how that agent was portraying the information and doing a complete 180 and coming back with a new strategy. And I think we all kind of see that. This to me just reinforced that. I think we've all probably thought that or talked about that. But I think that their camp's worried, man. He's putting out videos of him and his highlights, and I can't wait to do more of this and stuff like that. He's not dissing the team at all. I don't hear his agent out there dissing the team anymore either. So what do you guys think of that? I mean, does that just reinforce what you already thought, or?
Go ahead, Rhino. You're the guest.
I mean, it probably lends a little more credence to that they thought, hey, we consider Dalvin to be a top 2-3 back in this league, and he's going to go out there, he's going to get that money. When, for the most part, teams are not willing to pay a running back the kind of money that the rest of his contract is going to command. And I think they're realizing that now. I mean, it was a bad contract when we signed it. It was another classic Spielman overpaying a veteran guy that one of their legacy guys. I mean, I've been on the record for years saying I don't believe in giving a running back, period, a big second contract unless he's, some rare exception to the rule where he's a generational type talent and still at the top of his prime. And even at that point in time, I mean, we see it all the time. Running backs hit that 28, 29 years old and they just fall off the cliff just because their body takes such a beating from.
Yeah.
But, and with Dalvin, yeah, he had those handful of huge plays last year. I mean, those plays won us at least 2 games last year. But he also, to the point you made earlier, Justin, he led the league in rushes of 0 or negative yardage. And, I think the running back committee approach is the way most teams are going. I think that's the way we want to go. And, I'm talking to somebody earlier that has, I respect their thoughts on the game, their thoughts on going with Alexander Madison versus Dalvin Cook is the Vikings value that 3 to 4 yards per carry kind of thing more than nothing 30, just because it's when you're, going into 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 versus 2nd and 9, 2nd and 11, it opens the playbook up that much more to be able to run the kind of offense that KOC wants to run.
No, I totally agree. I mean, that's part of what we've been talking about for the last few years in particular, but last year specifically, about how first couple of drives, we'd come out and we'd score a touchdown on the first drive or two, or on occasion we might have a first quarter and a half, the Arizona game 2 seasons ago where we scored touchdowns on 3 out of 4 drives and then didn't do anything for quarters at a time. Last year against Chicago, first 3 drives, touchdowns, and then don't do anything until the 4th quarter. Well, part of that is play calling. Part of that is the fact that, okay, 1st and 10, you're handing it off, and now it's 2nd and 9. Sometimes, and I've used this. What's up, Yogi? Good to see you. I've used the analogy of a home run hitter in baseball, where he averages 250, and every 4 at bats, he's got 1 home run and 3 strikeouts, or 2 strikeouts and a ground out. You said it, 0s, 1s, and negatives, and then a 15 or a 20. All right, great. Your average is 4.5, but for 3 out of those 4 plays, we didn't get anything positive out of it. So to me, that's my bigger thing about Cook. Now, another thing that Judd said was that supposedly Kwesi met with Dalvin and his agent and had lunch at Manny's. We'll take that for whatever it's worth. But that would lead to some of what you were saying, Dave, is that, all right, Dalvin at the beginning of free agency said, I'm not interested in taking a pay cut. And maybe now that he's seen that the well has run dry, so to speak, for his talents and for what the league perceives him to be, maybe he is now like, oh, all right, I guess I better come back with tail between my legs. But like we said earlier, at this point, the Vikings have done enough moves. They re-signed Alexander Mattison. They had to have given him assurances. And more importantly, you drafted Ty Chandler last year. You got Kene Nwangwu. You've also then drafted McBride. You have set yourself up to have a different style of running back room to where now, even if he did take a massive pay cut, unless you're going to go into it saying, all right, you know what, instead of it being an 80-20 split with Cook and Madison, it's going to be closer to a 50-50 split. I don't know that I even want to go down that road. I just think it's better to clear the cap space, both for this year and beyond, get any type of compensation that you can, and be done with it. But we'll see. You know, it's not over yet. It's definitely not over yet.
Thanks, East Coast Gridiron.
What's up, East Coast?
And good luck in your show. What else we got here? Oh, In the Zone podcast.
In the Zone.
You know, everything. Now, I don't think you're bashing on Dalvin Cook, but I think there's a lot of extenuating circumstances with Dalvin Cook of him playing with injury for the past 3 years. And
True.
finally he's going to get that, finally got that taken care of. However, I put more blame on the way we used him, more blame on our just predictable running game, inside rushes with the, you know, and that's the weakest part of our offensive line. Not using tight ends correctly and making adjustments to the next game rather than in game. I just feel like they've learned their lesson and changed their personnel accordingly by getting Oliver. You know, I think someone brought up that we need to upgrade at right guard. I think maybe we need to upgrade at potentially left guard because we got a guy that still has a higher ceiling at right guard than we do at left. He's kind of hit that ceiling as far as not Cleveland, not playing his true position. So I think if Dalvin Cook came back, and I think Justin, you said the same thing, you wouldn't cry. You know, you wouldn't cry about it. We would just have a one of the deepest running back rooms in the history of running back rooms. Pretty much, we got guys plenty of guys that could start. Honestly, I out of all these guys, I think Kenny is the guy that would be the guy that, you know, might not make the team. Out of those running backs, who do you think would be out if a Dalvin Cook comes back?
Oh, probably Kenny. I agree. You're not going to get rid of Alexander Mattison. You just signed him unless McBride, you know, completely craps the bed during training camp and looks like a total bust. You're not going to get rid of that guy. So that really leaves it to be Kene and Ty Chandler. And, you know, we haven't seen anything from Ty Chandler, good or bad. So I think the unknown is definitely going to lead towards a little bit of a benefit to Ty to stay. I mean, I guess I would put it this way. If you're looking at it through the lens of what gives the Vikings the best opportunity to have the best possible 2023 season, keeping Dalvin Cook would give you that best opportunity. If you're talking about what is the best opportunity for this long term moving forward beyond just 2023, as I said, clearing the cap space both this year and beyond, getting a possible, even if it is just a 6th-round pick, that's something versus nothing. Yeah, I think Cook's going to be better this year, no matter where he ends up now that he's got this shoulder surgery done. I do think he's still – I'm not saying he doesn't have gas left in the tank. I think he's got 1, maybe 2 good years. But it's the old adage, Rhino, and I'll let you on in there. I know you love saying it too. Get rid of a guy 1 year early versus 1 year too late. And to me, this is the year to move on 1 year too early versus 1 year too late. So you keep Dalvin Cook for 1 more season. You cut him next year and get nothing. Well, does the difference between whatever perceived difference there may or may not be, and that's a whole nother discussion as to what Dalvin Cook still has. But even if you do believe that Dalvin Cook does give you more production than without him, is that production worth the salary you'd have to pay him this year? Is it worth the opportunity cost of getting a draft pick in return? To me, the answer is no. But then again, like I said, he could look brilliant in his first year on a different team. Let's say he goes to the Jets and he's playing with Aaron Rodgers and he looks brilliant. Well, then the Cook fans that wanted to keep him will say, see, we should have kept him. Yes, for 2023, that's the best move. But for the future, the long term, the best move is to move on. What say you, Rhino?
I agree with what you're saying there 100%. You know, another thing that we haven't even bridged yet on this, I talked about this last night on my show, is we've got our top edge rusher sitting out there right now who is not happy with his current contract, who is going to have a new contract in fairly short order because he may very well decide to sit out and take the fines if he doesn't get a contract more in line with his abilities. And in order to do that, we're going to need that cap space that getting rid of Dalvin Cook affords us. I think right now we have maybe around 9 million in cap, 8.5 and 9. So even cutting Dalvin and getting 9.5 million, that puts 18 million in cap space. That's enough to sign Hunter to a 3-year deal, 22, 23 million a year. But you work the cap magic with signing bonuses and that other kind of stuff to keep the cap hit lower this year, and still allows you. We're talking about bringing in on the offensive line stuff. You've got a Dalton Reiser still sitting out there that could be brought in to compete with the other two guys. You've got a little bit in your rainy day fund should something happen week 5, 6, somebody goes down, you have to go out and find another player. I'm not bashing Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook. I always have. But again, to that point, you said it, Justin. It's move on a year early and get something.
You heard it here, folks. Rhino hates Dalvin Cook. No, I'm kidding, man.
The aggregator's going to pick up on that, and you're going to get a whole lot of hateful comments, Rhino. But that was Dave, not me. Just kidding.
Yeah. I get him regardless from because of Dave's favorite players. So,
to a point that was just put into the chat, we also got to take care of Hockenson and Jefferson, and if there's a way to get those deals done where some of those cap numbers are absorbed into this year, so that you're not throwing all of it into future years and backloading it. That's another thing. It gets back to that phrase I used a moment ago with the opportunity cost. To me, whatever addition that Cook may or may not bring is not worth the opportunity cost that all of those things we've just mentioned here in the last few minutes would afford you. But that's just me. But it's not that we don't like Dalvin. No, we do. We absolutely do.
And I did not know you didn't like Scott Studwell, that you got crap for that. I did not. My favorite player is Scott Studwell. I had no idea that you were such a Scott Studwell hater. News at 11.
Yeah, that blood all over his pants just gets to me every time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like, why would you hate such a great player? Anyways, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, for me, the situation would be one of those things, and I brought this up way back, I don't know, months ago, where I did a video talking about, how to fix the D and whatever, draft a QB. I think that was my video. And one of the things I did was Dalvin Cook, and doing a situation where we sign a guy like that for 1 year as an option, and that way we buy out his contract, give him a nice little, guaranteed payday before he goes into free agency. And I think that's the happy medium between 1 year too early and 1 year too late. How about 1 year on time? Because that could be the situation where he is finally fully healthy. He did come off a year where he had, 17 games, which is incredible for him. And maybe it is that 1 year right on the nose, and we squeeze the last, ounce of, purple out of him. But I think we all think that he's going to go somewhere and be effective. I don't see he's still fast. And Rhino, you said he won 2 games. I thought, 3 potentially. Miami, Miami, Indianapolis, and Buffalo all were 3 big runs that either put it out of reach for Miami or brought us back in the game or tied it up. Those were the 3 big home runs. And Justin, I agree. A lot of negative plays, but again, I'm still more on my side. I'm blaming. Well, it's a kind of a mutual thing. You're going to give some blame on the running back because he was going down pretty easy, and I do attribute to that with worrying about how he's going to fall on his shoulder. And I think he tries to control that, and it's conscious, and you cannot play fast if you're worrying about shit. And I feel like it's finally going to happen for him. But unfortunately for him, it's a situation where, yeah, running back isn't valued as much. Hey, we can't pay you this much anymore. We are going to save $9 million if we cut him. That's a lot of money. And now one of the things is we want Dalvin Cook. We want Danielle Hunter to stay. He's 29. We want Dalvin Cook to go. He's 28. And I'm not saying that we do, but that's the talk. Like, hey, let's give him what the money he's due. He's making too much money. Let's get rid of him. One got 10 sacks. The other guy was the 6th leading rusher in the league. I mean, but we all know Danielle Hunter's a special player. He's going to make a huge difference on this defense. He is more valuable to us because there's nobody else behind him. And Dalvin, we got all these guys behind him, and that's where I think the thinking comes into play.
Well, and just the position in general, edge rusher is much more.
Right.
Is one of the top 3 most valuable positions on the team right now. On any team right now, running back is probably 3rd from the bottom of your starting 22. But
no, totally. I mean, again,
it's 1975, and we're running the ball. Damn it!
Yeah. Zimmer's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Dave on Minnesota Sports Talk.
Run first. Or 60-40, run, pass.
Couple quick shouts. What's up, Rap? Good to see you. I believe you shouted out Norpheus. But what's up, Dan? How you doing? Good to see you as well. And there was one more. Skull State of Mind. That's the one. Thank you kindly. And to answer your question, Skull State of Mind, yes, Kwesi did overthink it to that question you put out on Twitter earlier today. So thank you for that. I mean, again, it goes, we talk about winning on the margins, and we talk about, trading stocks, that sort of thing. At the end of the day, your edge pass rusher going from Danielle Hunter to whatever else is a greater gap than Dalvin Cook to running back by committee, with Alexander Madison being the chairman of the board of that committee. It is that simple. Now, yes, Danielle Hunter, you know what? You took that deal. And at the time, it was a great deal for you in your 3rd year to get $40 million. Well, at the same time, yeah, you probably haven't been taken care of, and that goes between 2 different regimes and whatever else. But yeah, to me, I know you weren't saying it specifically, Dave, that you're just kind of echoing what some people think. But to compare the Dalvin Cook and Danielle Hunter, it's just because of their ages.
I just find it ironic, It's like, but I also am saying that this is why, and it's because of the position and the depth at the position, and there's contributing factors to why we're ready to let go of Cook and are desperate probably right now to keep an edge rusher.
And to be honest, 10.5 sacks with Ed Donatel as your defensive coordinator was probably 12 to 15 sacks.
Yeah,
with a competent defensive coordinator.
That's individual effort right there.
That's what 15 if you're the defensive coordinator, Rhino. Okay, that's how bad Donatel gives me the heebie-jeebies. No, Rap, you ain't even funny. We're not going to want Jefferson gone next year too. Jefferson is the best at his position. You pay him whatever, and you don't listen to these nincompoops out there that have said for years, well, that's Kirk Cousins' market value, and that's what you have to pay for a quarterback like Kirk. Okay, Justin Jefferson is the number 1 wide receiver, so don't talk to me about how his contract would be debilitating towards building a team around him, when those are the same arguments that some have tried to make with Kirk, and you're the same people that says, no, that's not the case with him. So all I'm going to say is no, Justin Jefferson, that'll be done in the next couple of weeks. We all know that. It's just posturing and whatever else. What do you think of that one, Rhino? What do you think of Zach Wilson?
Well, all the soccer moms in Minnesota probably would be happy as hell with that trade, but I want nothing to do with Zach Wilson. I think he's
I would take Mullins.
He's a head case, and he's got entitlement issues, I believe. And
I'll take Jaren Hall over both of those.
Yeah, I will too.
Gosh. We already had one stint of that in the Twin Cities with Marco Yarich. We don't need another one with Zach Wilson, but I digress.
What was I 100% honest about?
I think I don't want to speak. I'm just guessing, but maybe that you were sticking up a little bit for Cook from the standpoint of, we need to get rid of Cook. He's too old, but we got to keep Hunter, who's a year older. I'm guessing that's probably what he was referring to.
I don't know if I said it that way, but I'm just saying that's why. You know, I was saying that's why I would get rid of him, because honestly, I wouldn't mind. You know, I would not cry if we kept him, but I think I would complain if it was at the current salary. But if we did what we said, and a lot of people had suggested that of $8 million guaranteed, and see what happens. You're overpaying for him compared to what he's going to get in the market. So there would still be good blood there. He's still a Viking. I don't think I think he likes being here. Yeah, I hate to see him like leave on a bad note, because we have seen players do that. Zadarius Smith, honestly,
wow.
Go away. I don't need you anymore.
He was a one-hit wonder. He was a mercenary. We knew we were getting into. I know we put your comment up earlier, but shout out Yogi's in the building as well. And Soldier Soup, good evening. Thanks for coming. Yeah, we were joking about Zimmer, but at the same time, yeah, no, not back to this 1975.
Catch up here.
Well, Rap's always going to stomp for Cook until the day he's gone.
Too Evil wants to trade Hunter and Jefferson to get the Cardinals' first overall pick so we can take Caleb Williams. But
I'd okay with Hunter. Jefferson, no.
I'm not trading Jefferson.
I might cry. I think he's talking about me.
There's about 3 people on this team that I consider untouchable, and Justin Jefferson's 2 of them.
There's 4 people in the entire NFL that are untouchable: Mahomes, Burrow, Jefferson, and Jefferson. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
So I think I could probably say this. Also slightly information given to me. I feel, taking what he says, I feel like Justin Jefferson is going to sign for I think we all know he's going to break the bank. Like, he's going to set the mark, but for a shorter period of time than we might have thought. I think it's on the low end of like a range of what we thought. That could change. Both sides can be different, but it's brought to my attention that might be in the works through a pretty reliable dude. But I think nothing that we'd be surprised about, nothing completely would be surprised about, but I think it's positive. I think it's very positive, and I think everything we're hearing and everything we're seeing, it's all positive right now. So that's good. Nothing's turned sour. I think we have money. I think you guys can agree on that we're going to have, with Cook going, possible adjustments with like our O'Neal. We would have money. Now so we were talking about Daniil, we're talking about Justin Jefferson, but we also got a tight end, Hockenson, that I feel like he's a potential cornerstone of our offense moving forward. He's what, 25 or 26? 25, I think.
25, I believe, yeah.
So yeah, I think this is our, outside of the quarterback position, left tackle, right tackle, tight end, and receiver, and potentially running back. But I think we can get a guy. One guy is going to come out of that group. I think there's going to be a guy that comes out of the group that's going to really impress us. But I think TJ Hockenson is one of those cornerstones. He showed this last year, over 900 yards playing for 2 teams, and could have easily been over 1,000. I think we got to keep those guys together. What do you think about TJ Hockenson being a cornerstone?
I agree. I think, again,
because he's an all-around tight end,
Well, yeah, and we were talking contracts last night on the show, and that was the 3 I was pointing at. It was Hunter, it was Hockenson, and it was Jefferson of the 3 that are going to need to have something done with them sooner rather than later. Hockenson, he's going to
have to do something now with Hockenson.
Yeah, because he's going into his 5th-year option year now, so he's a free agent at the end of the season if we don't take care of it. Hawkinson's going to get 15, 16 million a year. I mean, we looked at it that's in that George Kittle, and it's more than Kelsey's getting right now.
And he's younger than both those guys.
Yeah, the only one that would be getting more than Hawkinson right now would be Darren Waller, who just signed that huge deal with the Giants for 17 million a year average value. So
and who's been suspended at one point for performing enhancing drugs, right? Waller.
He was out for something. I don't remember exactly what the.
I'm thinking I got to look that up. I remember seeing an interview once, but I might be mistaken.
Well, while you're looking, let's give some shouts here. We got a couple new people in the building. Christopher Golson, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. We have Zach in the building. What's up, Zach? Good to see you as well. Angel Dust is in the house. Thanks, Angel, for joining us. And put Angel's comment up there. If y'all didn't wipe your feet at the door, as Rep would say, hit them like buttons on your way in or on your way out. And let's keep this algorithm smashing going here. But, Hawkinson, first off, you traded a second-round pick for the guy. So you don't trade him. You don't trade a second-round pick for a year and a half. And I know, you could franchise tag him, but that would just be a bad move optics. Number one, the franchise tag is going to cost you more than it would into a new contract anyway. But Hawkinson's a cornerstone. He's a guy that's going to get taken care of. There's no two questions about that. To your point, Jefferson, Hawkinson, the tackles.
And one point there, he's so agreeable, that I feel like this is he feels at home here. He wants to be here. So I think it's almost like
he's an Iowa kid too. He grew up a Vikings fan. So
right.
I heard his dad's room is purple or something growing up. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah. Blowfishes with a comment there. Offered Jefferson 31 mil a year. You're not going to get Jefferson for 31 mil a year.
No, but I do like Blowfish's other part of that comment where it said, or give him a 3-year, $28 million fully guaranteed.
Well, yeah. There's that,
I see the irony there. I see what you did there, Blowfishes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
But no, Jefferson's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback. And I think right now that is Aaron Donald at 32. So I think the floor with Jefferson is 32. You're probably 33 to 30. Or I know Dave mentioned last night he thought 35. Dave Stefano.
Yeah.
So
I think 35 is the ceiling.
Yeah,
that's probably
high.
I'm saying So it's somewhere between 32 and 35. I think what the final value ends up being.
Is there another receiver out there that we got to worry about that's going to sign for some crazy ass money? I don't think.
No,
so, right?
but
like
by the time
not between now and the time we're going to sign Jefferson.
No, but it's one of those deals where if what's the cat from San Francisco, Bosa. And I know they're different positions, but, both of them, they're going to break the bank for their position and they're going to be, right up there as the two highest non-quarterbacks out there. Side note, $11.35 million was what the franchise tag for a tight end was in 2023. So you got to figure, 12, 13, 2024 would be. So like I said, you're going to be pretty much up there. But again, you don't want to use the franchise tag on a player and not give him a contract extension. That's right. That's just bad for business. That's bad for business.
I'm looking up this. He was suspended, and I forget for what though. Championship. But so news coming out of camp, like Jalen Naylor had impressed early. I think they had a practice today. There's their next and last is the 8th, and then we go into the mandatory. The mandatory. Now, for me, it's like JJ, if he stays out, he stays out until his contract gets done. I understand that. But other guys like Dalvin Cook, I understand that. Even TJ Hockenson, but I think TJ is going to show up. I think those are probably the two guys I would worry about not showing up for the mandatory camp. And then obviously Danielle Hunter. So those three guys, I would think, are the guys that they won't show up unless they have contracts extensions.
Well, I think they probably show just because they're going to get fined if they don't. They're just going to stand on the sidelines, and maybe toss the ball back and forth between the four of them.
Right.
They're not going to actually do any drills. They might do some individual stuff or something like that, but they're not going to full practice. They'll do the old. Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here so I don't get fined type thing, and that's about it, I think. But
yeah, and frankly, I'm fine with that. If those guys,
I am too,
particularly JJ and Hunter, if they're there. Stefano had a good comment in the Purple Daily Live today. The three of them will probably just be there out in the parking lot, grilling up and having a barbecue while everybody else is practicing. And like I said, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, we're joking, but yeah, if Jefferson is there standing on the sidelines and not participating until the contract gets done, I'm fine with that. If he doesn't show up at all, then I'm a little. Right now I'm not that bothered that he's not here. If he was not in the building, at least for mandatory, I would be a little irritated by that. So that's a good compromise as to, hey, you're here, but you're not participating until we get the ink dry on the new contract.
So Ravens tight end sideline 2017 back tight Darren Waller was suspended for at least 1 year without pay for violating league's policy for substance abuse. A league spokesperson, that might have been that might not have been performance enhancing drugs though. I don't know, but he got suspended for a year back in 2017. This is a point. They say Metellus is having very impressive OTAs. Yep. So I guess he's all over. I think I listed safety going into last season as one of our deepest positions. And I was like, Metellus looked great. I forget the name of this other tight end that got some playing time this past year, but I don't know about him. But I feel like almost offended that people are talking about Scene not being smart enough to play. Like there's people in chats and they see he's on the second team for a reason. I'm like, and I'm watching Purple Daily talk about it, and I'm like, there should be no reason to put a label on this guy yet. We had Donatel not playing any young players to start the season. He gets hurt. He breaks his leg. He comes back faster than imaginable.
Right.
Like, Wolverine type shit like Adrian Peterson in 2012. I mean, that's some magical crap to come back. He's not going to take over the starting position right away, but to write him off, like calling him the words bust, Lewis Scene right now is almost it's damn near offensive. Now, Metellus, I'm high on. I wanted him starting over Bynum this year, but hey, Donatel knows better than I do, I guess.
Oh yeah. What's up, Mike Sports Vibe? Good to see you.
And
shout out Mike Sports
realistically, I think Bynum and Ward are probably going to play more in the nickel, in the slot corner type spot this year than they were than at safety, just for the fact that both of them are former cornerbacks that have played at both positions. I mean, even Jay Ward, when we drafted him, they called him a cornerback, even though he was listed as a safety.
Right.
And they talked about him playing nickel, like that is his natural position.
Yeah.
So coaches,
we're going to be running, in theory, 3 safety sets. But it's, as a combination that nickel to the third safety is becoming more of a hybrid type position, I think, where you can have a guy with some speed, but a little bit more size, maybe that can be able to stick his nose up in there and take on the run as well. So,
right. And, sometimes you got tight ends lining up in the slot. And so you're going to want, a safety with speed covering a tight end versus a shorter or, scrawnier cornerback who might have speed but can just get out physical and out matchup wise there as well.
Or Jordan Hicks.
Well, that too. Let's not go down that road. No, I don't have any. Again, if Scene is still second team because Marcellus is balling out, that's great. Fine. That's why you have camps. That's why you have competitions. But I agree that the notion that, he's not smart enough, he's not picking up on this, it is not Lewis Scene's fault that he's got that label as being the guy that Kwesi traded back 20 spots for and took and didn't get enough compensation in return. And so let's not damn him with the actions of the general manager that took him. Yes, we all agree. We've all said it on multiple shows that Kwesi kind of got ripped off. He left money on the table, and that even if the players that he ultimately got end up being Hall of Fame players, he still left money on the table. That's not Lewis Cine's fault. We can't just expect him to come in here like Harrison Smith did his rookie year and have 3 pick sixes for crying out loud. So let's stop with this. He's already a bust type of thing.
And the guy and there's
two people to hope is sitting there going like this with the stick as we're.
Yes, of course he is.
Yeah, and 2 will hope. Does he come do that?
What's up, Sarah?
Mike Sports Vibes.
Hey, what's up,
if I hadn't said it, thanks for being on the show. Hey guys, I'm having we're having a really good day of people watching the show. I got 20 on my end watching it. There's 29 in the viewing it right now. It looks like I got 20 people that hit like. Give us a few more. Make sure you do purple and skull for days. If you haven't, make sure you go to Vikings Uncensored and make sure you're subscribed to Rhino. Does awesome work over there. He's everywhere on Facebook. I think Facebook might pay his salary. I'm not sure, but he's all over that.
No, me and Zuckerberg aren't exactly on the best of terms because I got one of those 30-day ban or 3-week double secret probations for a post.
I did a while back, and then they started ratcheting me down. I haven't posted a lot on Facebook lately, but
no. This was back during the season because then all of a sudden I couldn't do my live breaks during the games and everything else like that. But they put me on double secret probation for a post that I allegedly had made back in 2018 that
so you're
they determined was spam.
Oh, whatever.
So you heard it here. Rhino is a criminal, Facebook criminal. But I guess I'll make an announcement. I'm planning on doing live streams during games now that NFL is going to YouTube. So I'm gonna actually spend money on that. So hopefully I'll bring people on to chat while I'm doing it. I don't want to be just sitting there by myself because God knows I feel like I'm lame the way I am. I need people like Rhino and Justin just to spice it up, to raise the level of conversation. Otherwise, you'll just see me have me looking at stats and reporting stats the whole day. But I need someone to talk to. Otherwise, I'll probably be bored to death. But that being said, thanks for watching the show, guys. Thanks for hitting subscribe. Thanks for hitting like. This is one of our better shows we've done in the off season so far. So that's awesome. Thanks, guys. There's talk about, I think someone brought up Naylor again in the chat. God knows I have a man crush on him. I feel like we're kindred spirits and soul brothers at this point. I plan on buying all his rookie cards and his jerseys and stuff, but I think he has an opportunity. I don't think it's set in stone that Jordan Addison's number 2 right now. Because he's not. I don't think he's set in stone right now.
No, not at all. The guy hasn't practiced in voluntaries yet. KJ Osborne is in a contract season, so he's not just going to step aside. To your point about your double man crush of Naylor, listen, he's looked good. I'll say this, circling back to, a little bit on the Jefferson thing as well. I don't mind that Jefferson's not there. I would prefer that Addison was because he's a rookie, but it has given Osborne and Naylor the opportunity to be playing with the ones. Granted, as we said earlier, they're playing against air. We understand that, so they should look good. Shout out, Dave. Thanks. Yes.
By air, do you mean Andrew Booth Jr.? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. No, I wouldn't call him air. I would just call him. I would just call him a chair. There's that old John Madden line. On defense, you set up chairs out there, and they're looking like they're just chairs. But jokes aside, I like this guy now. I'm coming around to. I know I don't say this often enough, Dave. I'm coming around to your thinking, at least on the Naylor front, that we might have something there, and I think we have a very deep wide receiver core there. So. No, by no means is Addison. He's not entitled to just be the number 2 behind JJ just because he was a first round draft pick. I don't think. What say you, Rhino?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm never been of that thought process to where you have to play this guy because he's a higher draft pick than the guy behind him. You put your best players on the field. Doesn't matter if they were drafted in the first round or if they're an undrafted free agent. It's and honestly, between these guys, competition between KJ and Addison and Naylor and these guys, fighting for that 2 through 4 position, it's only going to make them better because nothing should be handed to anybody on this team. They got to go out and earn it. We've had it in the past where certain players have gotten preferential treatment just because of who they are, or that they're, the one of the coach's favorite players. I'm looking at you, Anthony Barr. That kind of stuff. So it's, if Addison doesn't make wide receiver 2 right away, I don't care if it's because KJ Osborne or Jalen Naylor has outplayed him. Now, if it's process of elimination, he's awful, and the other 2 are slightly less awful, then there's a concern. But
I totally agree.
Yep, we passed on Aaron Donald to take Anthony Barr.
Did we pass on him? I thought he was taking one before Barr. Did we pass on Aaron Donald?
No, we passed on him.
Oh, that's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in
and put him in a 4-3 defense.
Well, that too. If y'all don't subscribe to Vikings Uncensored, I pinned that comment on my channel there as well. So after the show, hit that link and go subscribe to him. He runs. They run live shows on Friday night. He also does with his partner Brunswick. Brunswick's best is tomorrow night, right? Wednesdays
at 6 Central.
All right. And that's centered around each number of the jersey and the best Vikings player. And you just did 10 last week. You just did Fran and company, right?
We did Fran last week. We got 11 this week, so we'll have a little.
That's a Wade Wilson then.
That's definitely a Wade.
Well, we got a little Wade Wilson, a little bit of homage to Joe Cap,
and then 12 is Sean Salisbury.
That's yeah. I haven't looked at 12 yet to see who I leave that up to Brunswick. I just produce the show. He does everything else on that one. So
isn't Josh Freeman 13?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
But so yeah, he does.
No, tomorrow's will be good. You got 3.
Brett Johnson 14.
I think, right? You got 3 of the top 6 quarterbacks between Cap and Culpepper and Wilson in there. So that ought to be a good show tomorrow. So that all being said, everybody, so you run at least 3 shows a week during the
ISM at 15.
Yeah. So if you could, yes, it's funny. I'll say Dave brings up a good point about Brunswick's rants. I almost missed the days where his internet wasn't working and he would have a meltdown on a weekly basis. Now that he's figured it out, it's like, okay, that's cool that your show production value wise has gone up, but the comedy value has gone down because Brunswick ain't pissed off anymore. But I digress.
Well, just wait till the season starts back up again. Then there'll be plenty of
there'll be plenty of ranting at that point.
We'll fill the swear jar up in about half the show that way. So,
and tomorrow, me and the GG boys are going to be doing I guess we're going to do top 5 breakout players of the Vikings. I want to do 3, but they apparently have 5, so we're going to do 5. So, tell me in the chat who you think a breakout player is this year.
Well, let's see. Naylor and Addison will probably be around that list.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
It could be defensive player. It could be. I think defensive players will probably be pretty easier choice.
I'm not going to be resting on. I think Blackman's going to play early in the secondary. I think I made the prediction a few weeks ago. He's going to be starter by mid-season.
And I DM'd his agent for a quote. Didn't get a response.
Yeah, I fully expect Brian Asamoah to have a big year too.
Yes.
He's by all accounts in OTA so far, he's been all over the field.
We got a Boo Junior sighting.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
certainly.
If he can stay healthy, I mean,
that's the key.
He's always had the talent. He just still want to have a beer with me in Brunswick anytime, Dan. just let us know.
I was about to say, Dan, you want to have a beer with Rhino Brunswick? It ain't going to be a beer. It's going to be
a beer. Regular's going to be a breakdown.
It'll be a several beers.
Yeah, don't get me started, Sarah, on Rager.
McBride, Blackman. Well, I guess you could say any running back. One of the running backs is going to have a breakout season.
Theoretically, if Cook's gone now, does Alexander Madison still qualify as a breakout?
Sure.
All right. Fair enough.
He's 24, right?
That's true. Yeah. That's
24. True. He's only started.
He's still younger than I think. Isn't he younger than McBride?
Yeah,
no, McBride's younger. McBride's younger. He's like 21.
Yeah, younger.
But he was the youngest running back until we drafted McBride.
Yeah. So That's the other reason why. I don't know, we're circling all over the place here right now, but that's the other reason why it's like, okay, I don't hate Dalvin Cook. I just think, again, it's the better move long term.
I'm gonna
I also want to see
that. I hate Dalvin Cook. I'm gonna splice that.
Yeah. You'll have to cut out the word "don't." That was in the middle there.
It's going to be one of those.
Easy.
I really hate that.
Exactly. But no, I want to see Madison get a shot. I do, and I think it's better roster construction. I mean, that's what we've been saying about multiple positions, is putting the best overall roster together. You know, not to go. Who was that hockey coach for the Gophers for men's U.S. hockey? That Russell, what's his face plate? Oh, geez. The hockey coach, somebody. Really?
You just made me forget.
Yeah, I know. I'm drawing a blank too, but I
Herb Brooks.
Herb Brooks. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Herb Brooks.
I'm not. You don't have the best players here. I'm not looking for all the best players. I'm looking for the best team. And sometimes it's, you know what? It's a better thing to have a better roster construction than it is to have the best player on it if he's going to take up, the money and whatever else. So I need Madison to do well, so a signed autograph card is worth something. All right, Sarah. All right, there you go. All right.
I think she won that during the draft show.
What hasn't Sarah won, by the way?
Well, she's on.
Davey wants to see Andre Carter block a bunch of kicks. I think that he's another strong candidate for.
That's true. I bet he'd be good at that.
He is in college. He had like 3 or 4 block kicks in his college career. So.
Can't disagree with you, Dan, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
The best chemistry, yes, Skull for life. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But, and again, by the way, side notes, if you told Alexander Madison you're going to be the lead guy, and then you bring Cook back in and say, oh, guess what? You're not the lead guy anymore, or you're splitting lead guy duties. What does that do to the relationship with Alexander Madison? And again, I know Alexander Madison is just a backup running back that hasn't had his opportunity yet, but you had to have given him some kind of conversation when you re-signed him. So at the end of the day, for me, I just think it's time to move on. But let's set our piece there. Didn't I wear that hat you're wearing? No, you don't want this hat. I've had this hat long enough. I've actually had this hat signed by a few Vikings players, and there's a lot of sweat in it, so trust me, you don't want it. And I'll just leave it at that too, Evil. Not the hat off this head. That's for dang sure.
Oh, goodness. Any camp? I mean, they really, camp hasn't even been announced yet when it is, but I think the camp battles are pretty straightforward. It's cornerback who's gonna step up. Lesser extent receiver. Hell, I think even linebackers is probably solidified. I guess who's going to be able to start. I think the offensive line or defensive line, I don't think it matters. It's going to be a rotation. It's like people were hooting and hollering over Davenport defending a swing pass or something by Kenny Nwangu.
Yeah, he knocked down a pass in the end zone with Nwangu yesterday.
Well, I don't think he knocked it down. I think it just Kenny couldn't catch it because But
no, he got a hand. He got a hand.
Did he get a hand on it? All right.
Yeah.
But, hey, real quick, good night, Blowfish. Thanks for joining us. I didn't even consider the time difference in there, so thanks for joining us. We appreciate you as always.
UK?
Yeah. Blowfish over in the UK.
That's dedication. They're staying up till 1:30 in the morning.
I know. In the off season, nonetheless. There you go. It was the night before a game.
Blowfish, I want to get UK guys. I was going to try to get some of the UK fan club members to come on the show, but if you ever want to come on the show, let us know.
That being said, Blowfish, how do you watch? Wait a second. This is about when Monday night and Thursday night and Sunday night football games start. Is that one? That's got to suck.
It's a 5-hour difference at UK right now with daylight savings time. It's 5 hours.
Yeah. That's called calling in sick the following morning.
Yes, pre-scheduled vacation or calling in sick, one or the other. There you go. Okay, will KOC have a slump? All right, define slump. Too evil. You talking about what? Play calling? Are you talking about just the overall record of the team? I mean, I think we all think that the Vikings record is probably not going to be 13 wins. So would you call that a slump? I mean, where are you going with the question there? Yeah.
I think we've all agreed, and I've said this, is that we could be a better team and lose more games.
Mm-hmm.
Both could be true. And I come out with the same prediction as I did the year before, because I don't think it is that hard, as tough of schedule, because I think it was laid out well for us, with the where the home games are and where the away games are and what time of the year they are. It all kind of worked out. I think I think that 17th game we got kind of screwed. I think that is like round robin, right? Like it's not we get fucking Cincinnati on the road and late in the season. I mean, that's kind of a screw job, but how did that?
It's still not that late though. It's isn't it like in November? So it's not like it's going to be.
No, I think it's the first or second week of December.
The 1st of December.
It was.
Oh yeah, it's right before Detroit, Green Bay, Detroit. So yeah, it's late.
Yeah, it's late. I remember it being the one game we can kind of for sure was going to be a cold weather game. Outside of Denver. Denver was in October, but yeah, but there weren't going to be any outside cold weather games except for one, possibly two. Mm-hmm. And we play our rivals at home at the end of the season, but and then I think people are just picking the Lions like they're the shit now. Like, what have they done other than, I mean, they re-signed their D coordinator, and their D was terrible last year, to like a 2-year extension, right? Or something like that. And we signed a brand new one, and they're getting the benefit of the doubt and we're not.
That's fine.
On the defense. I guess it's okay.
We do better when we don't have expectations on us anyway. And when we do have expectations on us, we always fall short. So I'm not offended by it one bit, and I don't lose any sleep over it. Let the Lions go ahead and be the darlings. Let the Bears, who have done nothing, be the darlings, and we'll just go ahead and win this division again, no problem. That's
was it Ranker picks them 12-5, win the
well
division.
That guy's an idiot. I mean, he picks the Bears to win.
He's a Bears fan. He does that every year. I mean,
I know. I retweeted him laughing, or I call him a clown.
I mean, it's one thing when you're Paul Allen and you have a radio show and you have an affiliation with the team to pick him to win 11.
He's even more realistic than that, though.
Well,
I mean, I
think the point being is that if the Bears win 12 games, I'll leave town. How about that? I mean,
they have one playoff victory, or no, they have one. Is there one playoff victory in the Super Bowl era? I think.
Talking about the Lions.
One playoff victory in the Super Bowl era.
Yes, that is correct.
They have not won the division since it split off and became the North from the Central.
Correct.
Their last playoff appearance was what, 19?
I think it was 94.
90. No, I was thinking 92 or 94.
Yeah. They swept us a couple.
Well, that was their last playoff win. Was 92.
Excuse me.
94.
Yes,
because they made the playoffs. I want to say in 2014.
14, yes.
14 they did, yeah.
And I think the Packers won the division that year.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that 2014 Lions team kind of got screwed by the Cowboys at the end. And then the next week, the Cowboys got screwed by the Packers in the end with the Dez catch that was a catch. And then the next week after that, the Packers.
I don't know what you do. I do not know how you cannot call diving for the fucking goal line not a football move. You got so screwed on that.
Yeah. Well, if he had caught the ball and taken 2 steps and then dove to the end zone, that's a football move. But catching the ball and diving in one straight motion is not a football move, apparently.
It's unbelievable how bad
we still don't know exactly what a catch is. I mean, a guy can catch the ball, put 2 feet in, a cup of Gatorade, and then set the ball down on the ground, and they call that incomplete. So,
it's, man, some of these rules. I don't know.
What do you think, Rhino, of the new kickoff? Oh, I'm sorry, David.
Oh, no, I was going to bring that up. Go ahead.
Yeah, what do you think of the new kickoff rule? Do you think it's good for the league back? All right, go ahead.
I freaking hate it. I mean, it's...
As much as you hate Dalvin Cook?
Yes. No, I mean, at this point in time, we just as well get rid of kickoffs altogether and say, here, you get the ball at the 25-yard line, and just because, I mean, I know they're doing it under the guise of player safety and everything else, but
Oh, the show's gone off the rails.
I do football moves all day long. All day long.
Too much information there, Dave.
Put that in your mind right Dave, there.
We thank you for your services change, as well as any other men and women in the chat right now that have been members of our armed forces, police, fire, nurses, doctors, etc. But that was more information about you than I really needed to know. All right, Randall, finish your thought on the kickoff. Let's get back on track here.
This severely minimizes having a kickoff return specialist like a Kene Wangwu or somebody like that on your team, because if you're going to automatically get the ball at the 25-yard line, no matter where you take the fair catch at, there's going to be a lot of times that they're just going to say, "Don't go back there." And you could put Kiris Tonga back in the end zone and just have him go like this and get the ball at the 25-yard line. I mean, you don't need to take up a roster spot for a specialist. Now,
well, we're the only team that returned 3 kicks the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there is still that possibility. But and that's the thing. If Wong makes the roster, and if Cook is gone, I think he does. There are still opportunities where he's going to take it out. It won't be as many, but it's. Like I said, I know it's under the guise of player safety, but I don't see any vast difference in the number of injuries or concussions or any of that other stuff from the special teams guys than you really do from any other portion of the game. I mean, you have 3 phases of the game, and you're trying to basically wean at least half of your third leg of the stool completely out of the game.
Yeah. To me, and I think I said it last week, either leave it the way it was without this stupid fair catch to the 25, or if you're going to say you can fair catch and get out of the 25, then just completely eliminate the kickoff, and you do the following 2 things. After you kick a field goal or score a touchdown, you have to declare, we're going to take the ball at the 40-yard line, and it's now 4th and 15. Your own 4th and 15 from your own 40.
And you're talking about the onside kick rule
as a replacement for the onside kick, or no, we're giving up the ball. You take it at the 25. Just be done with it. And I say that not because I'm trying to, lessen roster spots for players that would otherwise make special teams. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to do the fair catch at the 25, then all you're doing is making your kicker kick the ball and make players run down the field for absolutely nothing, more than likely. So then just get rid of it. So I'm not saying that that's what I want. I'm saying what I want is the way they had it, which is kick the ball off, and either it's in the end zone and you take the touchback, or you run it out and you play football. But I'm saying this is kind of a half measure for me. To me, don't go with a half measure. Just go with the measure of, hey, we just scored a touchdown. You can have it at the 25, or no, we're going to play make it, take it. We're going to take 4th and 15 from our own 40 and let the chips fall with that one play. That's just my thoughts.
Well, and right now, Ty Chandler was returning kicks, so it's like, and we got a Knowles, I think was his name, undrafted free agent.
Malik Knowles, the kid out of
he's returning kicks and was really
Kansas
good
State.
at it. So I mean, that position is expendable right now, and it does not bode well for Kene, who I thought did regress a little bit. Even though he did have the one big one that really helped us out. Was it the Buffalo game?
No, that was the Patriots game.
Patriots game. Yeah, Patriots game. That was really big in that game. But I still think it still would be a play that happens, because there's some special teams guy that thinks, oh, I'm gonna really pin people back, and entice them to run it out, kick it to the 1 yard line.
The thing with this new rule, 32 of the 32 special teams coordinators were opposed to this new kickoff rule. But it was something that Roger Goodell would not let go, and he basically forced it through.
Yeah, funny.
I can't wait till the day.
Well, there's going to be a lot of squib kicks, that's for sure. People are going to try to squib kick it into a spot where nobody is to make the ball land so that you can't fair catch it. And guess what? If you've got an absorbent increase in the number of squib kicks, that could lead to just as many concussions as what a regular standard kickoff was anyway. Because if you kick the ball to or through the end zone, 95% of the time, they're just taking the touchback anyway. So I think this has the potential. We'll see how it plays out, depending on what these coordinators decide to do. But you could actually have the potential for more injuries than you would have had you not instilled this rule. That's why I think this, again, I just don't like half measures. Either just be done with it or leave it the way it was. But
we kind of run out of topics, guys. Is there anything you want?
Yeah, put it in the chat. And put in dealer's choice in the chat of any last subject you want to talk about. And Kirk Cousins is off the table, except for Rhino.
I'm not bringing up that the guy that wears the jersey one less than Tommy Kramer, so I'm not bringing him up tonight.
There you go. In all seriousness, what do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think that this Cook situation is going to just drag out now that there's no really any pending dates, or do you think that they're finally just going to cut the cord so that they can get the Danielle Hunter and Justin Jefferson situations taken care of? Or do you think that this plays out all the way till August before anything gets done with Cook? What do you guys think?
I mean, it's possible that we just sit on him and hope that somebody's running back gets hurt in training camp.
I think we're sitting on him until a deal gets put out. I think it's as long as it takes now.
But to Justin's point, the longer we hold on to him, the more it hamstrings us as far as getting those other 3 contracts taken care of, which you're ultimately going to have to do before the season starts anyway.
Yeah.
The last one could be, TJ That's what I'm saying. It's like, if you have room to do the others, you just leave that one last. And then you still have Brian O'Neill to restructure and stuff like that. Not that I want that to happen, but
the problem especially with Hockenson and Jefferson, their dollar value is only going to go up the longer they remain non-extended.
Yeah, there's some thought, and I can agree with it, that Kwesi's giving up leverage a lot in most cases, and saying that we have champagne. Apparently, he said something about
that was a dumb thing for him to say. I mean, I understand the context of what he was saying, but it's just like, you really kind of just shot yourself in the foot by saying that. But
we all knew basically that the Justin Jefferson thing was going to be a pen and a piece of paper slid across the table and just say, "Tell us what you're thinking of for a number,"
and we'll say yes to it.
Right.
Oh, there's a good question. That's a good one. Thank you. What's Rhino's ranking of all the Vikings quarterbacks? I'm going to go Jaron Hall 1, Mullins 2. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Rhino.
Spurgeon Wynn,
Tavares Jackson, Christian
Brooks Ballinger, Bobby Brisker, John David
Moody. Yes, there you go.
Kyle Sloter.
But there was brought up Jaron Hall. So honest to God, I feel like people are trying to build some controversy whenever they can. Like, I do not look at Jaron Hall as anything. I don't think he beats out Mullins. I think he's our third quarterback. I think he will take over as our backup or next year, and maybe competes if we do part ways with Cousins. For that starting role, I think that could happen. It would have to be a really big high draft pick if, and then Jaron Hall's back being the back fighting for the backup position. But Jaron Hall I think is in a good spot. I think he is. You got an aging quarterback that's leaving, and you got an opportunity to prove yourself a year ahead of the next guy. So I think he's in a good spot, but to think that he's going to do anything this year, he's a guy on the team right now. To me, I don't know about you guys.
No,
and I'm high on him. I'm high on him.
Go ahead, Rhino. Go ahead.
I think that third quarterback rule helps Jaron Hall out a ton because we're not going to have to try
53 though. You still have him on your 53 though, right? But game day,
right? It's an extra game day slot. Pseudo game day slot, so to speak.
But the nice thing with Jaron Hall's situation, to your point, Dave, he's a 5th round pick. There really aren't, at least among rational people, any expectations of him doing anything. So I mean, if he plays well enough to beat out Nick Mullins at the backup quarterback position, we're all pleasantly surprised, and
oh yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic, right?
But and to the point that Kirk Cousins usually doesn't, or has been extremely durable his entire career. You could potentially play that game of, okay, we put Hall in as the backup quarterback, but.
And you heard it here, folks. Rhino says Kirk Cousins is the Iron Man of the NFL. Go ahead, continue.
Jim Marshall's got nothing on him, right?
No, I still don't think, myself personally, I wouldn't do that, because to me, you're tempting the football gods there.
Yeah.
And relying on the fact that Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt. You cut Nick Mullins and make Jaren Hall your second string quarterback, and Kirk Cousins gets hurt week 2 and out for the season.
Well, when Kirk Cousins went down, what was the first Nick Mullins threw the tight end screen behind the line of scrimmage.
Why would you do anything besides that? No, for me, Jaren Hall, it's funny. Jaren Hall is already either Kellen Mond or he's already Russell Wilson. It's like neither one of those is true. I've said it before. I think this is a good offense and a good coach for him to develop at this particular point in time. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's 25, but in football years, he's 23 because he, missed a couple of years off the bat with his missionary work. He's already married and has a couple of kids. So, him and Kirk got plenty of things to bond about from that perspective. So, again, would I love for him to be the number 2 quarterback? Absolutely. Would I love for him to be the number 2 quarterback and then somehow, some way pulled a Russell Wilson and took Kirk Cousins the Matt Flynn route with a very expensive backup? Sure, because that means that we got something.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is Matt Flynn, but
no, I don't think so either. I'm just saying the context behind it, that Russell Wilson was that good. If Jaren Hall is that good, then yeah, because then we got something for years to come, and you could trade Kirk at the trade deadline and get something for him. Again, that's not going to happen, but ultimately, again, my expectations level for him is that he's going to sit for a year. Probably not get into a game unless it's the week 18 game, because we've already got everything clinched just to get him some snaps out there. But at the same time, it's kind of like we were talking about with Lewis Cine earlier, where people are already ready to call him a bust, and people are already saying, Jaren Hall, he's never going to be anything. Well, we don't know he's never going to be anything. Let's come on here, guys.
Yeah, giving up on players that were injured, we'd be giving up on Danielle Hunter, Of course, we know better. So
yes, indeed. Well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Randall.
No, I'm just reading Bob Sweet's comment there. He has the Mormon superpowers.
I want a Scientologist take over. And
it's okay. Yes.
He has the 33rd level or whatever.
Norsevius says you heard it here first. All right, Norsevius, I'll take it. I will definitely take it. Well, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I know it's the slowest time of the year, and we're kind of having fun because we're struggling to come up with the same old topics, not recycled for the 57th time. But
this is the third show in a row I've talked about, or fourth show in a row I talked about Dalvin Cook.
Yes, there you go.
We've done too many of those too.
Yes, exactly. If you haven't already subscribed to Vikings Uncensored, hit Rhino up on the way out. Hit them like buttons on the way out as well. And if you don't already subscribe to both Minnesota Sports Talk and Purple and Gold for Days, why the heck not? Please help us out. Get those numbers up for us. We very much do appreciate it. And as I've said on the last couple of shows that I've done, we absolutely love this community that you guys are all part of, because it makes these shows a lot easier than just 2 or 3 people talking to each other when we've got 20, 30 people, throwing topics in there as well. We appreciate you guys so much. Dave, any last thoughts before we head up out of here?
No, man. Awesome. I don't want to talk about Vikings anymore until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. Well, tune in to Minnesota Sports Talk, who will simulcast with GG Sports. And if you didn't see the episode with GG Sports last night with our compatriot Mike Castellino from the Mic'd Up podcast, check that out as well. And as I said, if you don't already subscribe to Vikings Uncensored, you are missing out. And
speaking of missing out, I got one thing to push for our show on Friday.
Yes.
We are planning on having a former Vikings defensive end and one of the guys that took over for the Purple People Eaters, Mark Mullaney, and his brother Ryan, who is a football guy in his own right. We're planning on having them on the show on Friday, so make sure you tune in Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time to see our interview with the Mullaney brothers. We're going to ask them about what their current thoughts are on the team, get some playing memories from Mark, and all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Also, one last one for me. Thanks, Dave, for bringing up the What Do We Say, because that just sparked another memory. I'm also joining Vikings First and Scold on their podcast feed, so some of my episodes will be ported up over there. Please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast aggregator. Dave does some exclusive to the podcast feed only. I will be doing some exclusive to the podcast feed only. We're just waiting for the I's to be dotted and the T's to be crossed on the paperwork, and then some of my material will be over there as well. So if you don't also subscribe to Vikings First and Scold, both on YouTube and on your iTunes aggregator, please hit that up as well. So for that, what do we say? Skol Vikes, and have a great rest of your evening. We'll catch you on the flip side.